Guess what? Happy St. Patrick's Day. And we're on, honey. We are on. And I'm going to explain my outfit to y'all. You know, we're open in a little bit. You'll understand why once we get this story rocking and rolling. But first, I want to say to you guys, Happy St. Patrick's Day for those who celebrate. We're here, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Um, and yeah, we're gonna rock it. We're gonna rock it with Mr. Sherlock Holmes, as you can probably tell from the title, The Ghost of Sherlock, featuring Sherlock Holmes. We're gonna start with the return. So we've transcended past the memorial, or I'm sorry, the oh, I ain't never got myself together. The memoirs of, and we have transcended to the return of my homie is back by popular demand in a different way, back and better than ever. And so are we. So we got you guys, we got Scott, we got me, we got Sherlock and Watson, we got the team, we got the crew here.
Wasn't sure if I was in the right place.
Scott wasn't even sure because he doesn't even know who this is. He knows maybe by the hat and then my St. Patrick's Day hat, but not this, not my face. Definitely not my face. Okay, so we're gonna get on. This is The Case of the Empty Room, is the actual title, not the one I made up. So here we go. So Sherlock is gone in Watson's mind, and he's like, ruminating. He misses his friend. He's just like, oh my God. RIP to the homie. Sorry, I'm gonna be doing some arts and crafts. I got some arts and crafts here. RIP to my homie, Sherlock. He was the best to ever do it. He was the GOAT. And so, he's ruminating and missing his homie. And so all of a sudden he gets a call from Scotland Yard, and they're like, hey, we have a guy who was unalived in his room. It's a diplomat. It's another diplomat. Kind of like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But this diplomat, that he got the same faith as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's unalive, but nobody stumped him out, So the diplomat's name is Ronald Adair. We're going to call him Ronnie Ron. Scott, what do you think of that name? Ronnie Ron?
Sounds good.
I love it. If you say anything twice, it's good. Cheesy cheese.
Humpty Hump.
Humpty Hump. Hey. Am I Humpty Hump or am I a stranger? We don't know. Anything, sounds good twice, So we're gonna call him Ronnie Ron. So Ronnie Ron he was found in his room, just honey, with a bullet wound in him. He had a bullet wound in him, poor thing. And so, they call Watson because they like, well, Sherlock ain't here, but you worked with Sherlock, so maybe you'll be able to help us with this case like Sherlock did. Maybe you were the man behind the man, I guess. I don't know. And so they called him over, and so he's learning about the case. So what happened was Ronnie Ron, lived in a mansion with his mom. He was a diplomat. He was from like a very wealthy family of politicians. And so, his mama had some cataract surgery. Otherwise, she lived outside of London. She was living her best life. She probably had a little boyfriend or something. And, and the sister was there as well. And so I guess Ronnie Ron was off doing his thing, going to work, coming home, doing this, doing that. And, one day he came home from work and he went in his room. They heard some glass shattering, and then he wasn't there anymore. Now, the only definitive thing that we know, like, that Ronnie Ron does this of any, like, he's just a regular guy. He's just a regular guy. The only thing that he does that's a little different that you may say is like, maybe we should investigate this, is he plays bid whist. Have you ever played bid whist before, Scott?
What?
Bid whist. It's a card game.
Big whiz?
Bid whiz. Scott ain't never played it. I grew up playing that. Spades, Tunk, bid whist, which is what we're talking about. It's kind of like spades. You have a partner. It's kind of like spades. Have you ever played spades?
No, I don't think so.
Scott is not a gambler, y'all. So, the only thing he did was he paid bid whist, but he never owed anybody. He had a lot of money. He would only go up to £5 and then be like, okay, I gotta go, y'all. And it was something he did. He was in a bid whist car club. No big deal. Nothing to see here. He never argued with anybody, nothing like that. There was nothing to see there. So, Watson was like, I'm going to try to use the methods that Holmes taught me and maybe something to come up. Guess what, Scott? Nothing. My man didn't have nothing. He had a Humpty Hump nose. You think I need a rhinoplasty, Scott?
Maybe.
This ain't love. This ain't love. So anyway, so Watson is discouraged. And so he leaves out the door. He goes back to his home. And outside are a couple of dudes, but one dude like really stood out to him because he bumped into this guy. And it was this, this disfigured bibliophile is what he said the person was. And he was carrying a bunch of books. I guess I would be considered a bibliophile. Maybe I'm not there yet. I need more books. But anyway, so, the bibliophile, Watson and him collided. The books go flying. The books are like, ooh, that book actually flew. And they flying everywhere. And, Watson helps him. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. He helps him get his books. He gives him the books. And, the guy gathers the books and goes away. Well, Watson goes home. He's discouraged. He's sad. He's downtrodden because he's not Sherlock Holmes. And he didn't he was a student, but he wasn't a student of what Holmes did. Or maybe it just wasn't his thing, He got his doctorate, so he was doing good in his profession. But nonetheless, so, he goes back in the house, and then there's a knock on the door, and it's the bibliophile dude. And Watson's like, yeah, what's up? And the bibliophile is like, oh, can we go to your office? I just want to say a few words to you. And so he was like, Dr. Watson, the bibliophile. He was like, Dr. Watson, I heard you're a really nice man. And I don't want you to think by me kind of rushing off so quick, that I wasn't appreciative of your kind gesture, helping me pick up my books after you knocked them off my arms. And you're just a decent dude. And Watson like, how you know me? And so the bibliophile was like, oh, because I have a bookstore right down the street. And yeah, everybody knows who you are. You were friends with Sherlock. And so he was like, for me to thank you, he was like, look back there over at your thing. I have a whole collection of encyclopedias that will look good there. You can fill in that space over there. So Watson turns around and he turned back around and it's Sherlock there. It's Sherlock. Wow. So I can take this off because, and let me show y'all.
Oh, Sherlock was in disguise.
He was in disguise. And look, the actual thing actually came from this weird kid store. And it's called The Amusing Disguise. And it actually is like a Sherlock thing talking about Holmes, the master of disguise, waited patiently for Watson's reaction. By Jove, intoned Watson in a flat voice. Who are you and what have you done with Sherlock? Honey, did y'all know it was me? Scott, did you know it was me?
I didn't.
Well, Watson didn't know that was Sherlock pretending, dressed up as a bibliophile, as a disfigured bibliophile of all things. So today is one of those days where Scott might not be invited back to the show, y'all. We might be short one next time.
I was wondering, how the disguise was so good.
Scott, are you going to get in disguise with Sherlock?
All right, move on.
Here, put on the Sherlock disguise. He had a hump in his nose. That was the disfigurement. So, y'all can't see Scott. Scott over here looking like Sigmund Freud. So anyway, like I should be on the couch. So anyway, So he turns around and Lord Jesus is Sherlock Holmes. And Watson is just like, oh my God. Let me just read the part. I highlighted the part for us to go over because, girl, I was like, honey, if you gonna do an intro, do an intro. Be Sherlock. Be more like Sherlock and do an intro. So I moved my head to look at the cabinet behind me. When I turned again, Sherlock was standing smiling at me across my study table. Girl, I would have been like, oh, that's a ghost. We need an exorcism. I rose to my feet, stared at him for some seconds in utter amazement, and then it appears that I must have fainted for the first and last time in my life. How you know that's the last time you gonna faint? How do you know? How you know, Watson? Now you may know it's your first, but how do you know it's your last? So anyway, certainly a gray mist swirled before my eyes, and when it cleared, I found my collar ends undone and the tingling aftertaste of brandy upon my lips. Brandy was the answer in the 1800s. If anything happened to you, I think they just gave you brandy. You having a baby, get some brandy. Your eyeball popped out the socket, get some brandy. You faint for the first and only time in your life, allegedly, get some brandy, right? I feel like this hat is gonna fall off. I hope it doesn't, because then Scott's gonna pinch me. So anyway, Holmes was bending over my chair, his flask in his hands. My dear Watson, said the well-remembered voice, I owe you 1,000 apologies. I had no idea that you would be so affected. I gripped him by the arms. Holmes, I cried. Is that really you? Can it indeed be that you are alive? I would have called it exorcism, honey. Is it possible that you succeeded in climbing out of the awful abyss? Period. Okay. Watson was very surprised and very happy and very probably, inebriated by the time he got through drinking up all that brandy. So, Holmes is like, okay, Watson, I know I just popped up in your life out of nowhere, even though you thought I had fell off the edge of a cliff. And I know you fainted and maybe you have a concussion. It doesn't matter. What you doing tonight? Scott, if you thought I was long gone and then I just popped up in your life with my disguise on, like with my disguise on, and then was like, then you passed out and I gave you some brandy. And then I was like, hey, what you doing tonight? How would you feel?
Happy.
You would come with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So Scott would just cancel all appointments and come with me. So Watson was like, I guess I ain't doing nothing, honey. I didn't even know you were still, of this earth. So I guess I ain't doing nothing. But could you tell me like what happened? Because we had marked you gone. Okay, we had marked you gone. So Sherlock was like, well, we're on the case. Okay. Of course, we're always on the case, honey. We're on the case. So while we're on the move on the case, I'm gonna just run by you what happened. And so basically, Sherlock was like, Moriarty and I, we had our little shindig. He let me write you the letter. You read that letter. He was like, so, we got into it. Moriarty threw his pew pew on off to the side, and we did some hand-to-hand, man-to-man combat. Okay, honey, because we are old English gentlemen. And we do things the old way, baby. We men, not mice. Period. So they get to their hand-to-hand combat and they tussling and they are of equal strength. It's like Batman and a Joker almost. Like they, and eventually Holmes had to do that Japanese wrestling that he learned in college. He went on, he got tired of fighting. He's like, I'm tired of tussling. We kind of too close to the edge of this cliff. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and use this Japanese wrestling move that I know. I'm going to pin you down and just flip you on off this edge because I'm tired. Like, honey, I've been hiking all day and I'm about tired. I knew you was coming and I'm tired. And so he flipped him off the edge of the cliff. And he hit his head. As he was going down, he hit his head on the edge and then fell into the water. So he's gone. Professor Moriarty, no mas, no more. Scott, how does that make you feel?
That makes you sad.
He was a villain. Scott respects all lives here. Okay, so Holmes said, then he was like, this is kind of an opportunity, a once in a lifetime, if you will. I can kind of fake my own unaliving right now because there are a few people still after me. There are a few people that they want a little revenge. And I'm not going to give them that pleasure. I'm going to let them think that I'm gone. And I'm going to take them out. So Holmes figured, like, even though I can take that easy way over there, it's wet and they're going to see the footprints. So let me take the most dangerous way to get out of here and let me climb up the side of a waterfall. Where if I slip, I'm going to end up with Professor Moriarty over there. Unalived. Would you have taken that way, Scott? Would you have taken that way?
I don't know if that would be my first choice.
To rock climb with no equipment up the side of a waterfall?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good idea.
But it's the idea that Sherlock Holmes had because he is committed. He's committed. More committed than me. So, he goes, honey, he going rock climbing, baby. He's scaling. He said he slipped, and he thought he was a goner a couple of times. But my homie, he climbing. He elevating, baby. He's elevating. And so, he climbs. He almost gets to the top, and a rock go a-flying. And he's like, oh, that must have, whatever. No. One of Professor Moriarty, I guess, they run in packs, baby. Evil running packs. So one of Professor Moriarty's goons that was a lookout for him saw what happened, saw Holmes made it, and was like, "No, you're not gonna make it. Not on my watch. Not today. Not on St. Patrick's Day or any day." And so he was throwing rocks at him to knock him off his rock climbing expedition. But luckily, Holmes saw another ledge. He swung on in there, got in there, and laid down because he was exhausted. Because I don't know if anybody on here has been rock climbing, but it is exhausting. Have you been rock climbing, Scott?
A little bit. Nothing too crazy.
Were you exhausted afterwards?
It's tiring, yeah.
It's full body work out there. So, he gets there, he lays down. He hears Watson and the police, up above him, but he's like, no. I'm faking my unaliving because I got some people I need to get with, and I need to catch him on the surprise. And so, he keeps going, and he was like, Watson, that was so sweet, the article you wrote about me. You are a true blue friend. Okay, you are my friend. I've been looking around, and you were there all the time, sir. That's a little Patti LaBelle. It's a song called "You Are My Friend." It's one of my favorites by her. Cool. Shout out to her. So anyway, he was like, that was really sweet. He was like, I used the time. He was like, I got on back to mainland. He was like, I was exhausted. I heard y'all do it. Y'all left. I got on to Florence, which totes. I love Florence, Italy. So he gets to Florence. He travels around. He bumps into a few of them goons that he needed to take out. He took a few of them out. He ended up in Tibet. Okay. He ended up in the Middle East. He was in Mecca. He was just doing whatever he wanted for 2 to 3 years. Now he was like, I had to have, an accomplice. I can't just be doing this because, my money. I need money to do all this. So guess who he went to be his accomplice? And do not say Watson, because Watson had passed out and had to have some brandy. If you were Sherlock, who would you go to? Who would you go to?
His brother.
Period. Scott's on the case, honey. Scott's on the case. He goes to Mycroft. And Mycroft ain't saying nothing. Mycroft got the whole club where you can't even talk. You get caught talking 3 times, you gotta go, honey. He got the bouncer to he gets the bouncer to bounce you right on out. So he goes to Mycroft. Mycroft's like, yeah, whatever. I'm inheriting your money anyway. You ain't got no kids, you ain't got no wife, you ain't got nothing going on. So Holmes basically was like, can you please just keep up my house, 2221 B Baker? Could you keep that going for me? And could you also, just send me money to help my travels? And so Mycroft like, yeah, I ain't doing nothing with the money, honey. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be near nobody. Like, what am I spending money on? Whatever. I'll do whatever. So he keeps the house. Now, Sherlock is keenly aware that the dude that was over there throwing rocks down the wall climbing thing he was doing is still alive and knows that he is still alive and is watching what's going on. So he's like, okay, cool, got it. Cool, gang. Let me, take out these other people. So he goes on a 3-year excursion, taking them out. And finally, what made him come back to 221 B Baker Street was this case of Ron. He said it was too good for him to stay away. So Holmes was like, I came back. And he was like, I came back, looked at that seat, Watson seat, and I said, ain't no way I could do this without my homie. I'm gonna bump it to the homie, and I'm gonna shock the homie and let him know I'm here with him still. And so, he was like, that's why I told you, and that's what happened. So Watson's like, okay, cool, I ain't gonna say nothing, and we gonna get this done so you can do whatever you want. So he's like, okay, cool, let's not go to my house. What we're gonna do is go to a house where we can watch my house, because I'm setting up the criminal, this last criminal that knows I'm alive. And so Watson like, cool, let's go. So they go to this house that's near there. It's dark, and Holmes is just pacing. He just nervous. He like, oh, I gotta get this dude. Oh, he make me sick. Oh, he tried to take me out. Oh. He mad. He big mad. Well, I would be mad too. Like, sir, I'm just up here trying to live. Your friend up here doing the most, and I didn't jujitsu'd him on off this edge, and now you gonna try to jump me while I'm on the ground? You kicking me while I'm down? I would be mad too. Don't try to take advantage of me. Shoot. So, they chilling at this house. So Watson looks out and looks at 221 B Baker, and he's like, oh my God, Holmes, that's you in the window. And Holmes started giggling. He's like, no, I got this doll maker, this wax maker, Madame Tussauds almost. I have somebody that makes wax, and they could make it look just like me. And so that's what you see in the window. And as you see it turn, is because I got my old housekeeper. She ain't going nowhere because I pay her too good. And her work real light. She just bring me breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I let her do whatever. Pay her a lot of money. So she gonna turn that thing every 15 minutes so they think it's me in that house. It's not. Clearly, because I'm here with you guys. Period. So, Watson like, that's super smart, but that's why you to go. So they get in the dark, they creep, they kind of chill, they lay down. All of a sudden they hear some noise in the back. So what Sherlock like, Scott is over there making so much noise, and he's giving away our location. This is why he might not be here next time. So Sherlock like, and so you hear a person creep up. Now Watson sees him from afar, and he's like, it looked like an older dude. He looked scraggly. He looked weird, whatever. So the dude get down, he get his rifle out, he puts a bullet in there, and he's looking through the window, and all of a sudden he pulls the trigger, and off goes the bullet. It whirls through the air. Ain't no loud bang. It whizzes through the air, whizzes through the window, and hits the Madame Tussauds wax figure. So at that point, Holmes is like, yeah, what up? What up? What up? And just jumps on him, karate chops him, does whatever, takes him down. Then he gets his whistle and he's like, and in comes Detective Lestrade from, Scotland Yard. And he's like, you're under arrest. Hands up.
All right.
And so they find out that it's Colonel Sebastian Moran, who was the one right under Professor Moriarty. And he happened to be the one throwing rocks like a big old loser, bullying people, while Sherlock was trying to do his rock climbing expedition up the waterfall. And, so he could sneak surprise people. And so, Colonel Moran is like a super sniper. He's number 2 right-hand man with Professor Moriarty, and he was the last person that Sherlock had to get. But he was like, I had to let him think that he was stalking me so I can use that as a trap to stalk him because I'm smarter than him, because I'm Sherlock Holmes. And so, he set up the thing. But what triggered him to come back to London was he knew that Colonel Moran was the one who took Mr. Ron out. Now, how did this happen? Remember, I said Ron liked to go down to the card club and play him some bid whist. Well, his last partner was Colonel Moran, and Colonel Moran liked to cheat in them cards because that's the only job Colonel Moran got. That's how he make that money. He a hustler. He hustling cars, baby. I don't know why he decided to play a card game with partners. But I mean, I feel like Texas Hold'em may have been, maybe not, because Texas may not have been around. But I feel like there were other card games that he should have played, not bid whist while you cheating. But Ron addressed old boy after the fact and was like, hey, you're my elder. I don't want to make a big scene. You're also respected in the community. So, you probably need to get that money back because I know you cheated in cards. And Colonel Moran was like, do you know I'm a cold-blooded unaliver, honey? I am a sociopath. I don't care about you. You're not gonna block my hustle, my card hustle. I ain't got time for this. So what does he do? Remember, it was an empty room that this man was found in. The door was locked, everything, but they found a bullet hole in him. He went on and took that rifle and said, poof, and took him right on out. You're not gonna put his business out there in the street, said Colonel Moran. Holmes saw it and knew exactly who it was, and it was like, yeah, let me go and set this fool up real quick. Now, Detective Lestrade is like, talking with Holmes. And he was like, I can't believe you back. And he was like, that's cute. He was like, what are you going to charge this man like on Colonel Moran? Because this is before he told him that, he had killed Ron, or he had unalived Ron. He was like, what you going to charge him with? And Detective Lestrade was like, for your unaliving. And Holmes was like, nope. I ain't alive. I'm the ghost. I'm a ghost. I don't even exist for real. He was like, what you gonna do is you gonna take credit for it. And you are going to give him the unaliving of Ron because he did that one too. You gonna keep my name out of it. You ain't seen me. You ain't heard from me. I'm a ghost. I'm a figment of your imagination. And so Lieutenant Lestrade was like, cool, or Detective Lestrade. He was like, cool, period. And say less. I'm going to get all the credit for this? Cool, period. Give me a promotion. And, Holmes turns to Watson. He's like, hey, you want to go back to 221B and go chill and have some cigars and maybe some brandy or whatever we do over there? And Watson was like, hey, let's go. And that concludes the story of the empty house, the case of the empty house, that is. What did you think, Scott?
Wow, that was wasn't expecting that.
The return or the story?
The return. Disguise.
I know. I'm sorry I did that to y'all. What lessons did you learn?
Well, can't judge a book by its cover.
Period. The lesson I learned is this. Sometimes when you think you're trapping somebody, sometimes that is a trap being laid for you. Because Sherlock surely used, he was like, yeah, I know his thought process. He think he set me up, but I'm setting him up for the setup. It's like inception of setups. Sometimes when you think you setting somebody up, you really setting yourself up. So pick your battles, choose your battles wisely, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Make sure you ain't getting set up for the setup. What else you got?
That's what I got.
That's what you got? Well, we got one more thing. It's per usual. We're adding this in there because fat girl gonna like the fat girl. Okay. So I went to the Asian thing. Now, next time we're not gonna have Asian stuff. We're gonna have like super weird novelty stuff. But this is Hello Panda Caramel. So yeah, let's see what this is about. I'm excited. Scott, are you excited?
Excited.
You know what these look like, y'all? Teddy Grahams. These are like Teddy Grahams, but not shaped like the teddy bears. That's what they look like on the inside. What you think?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, this is like caramel cereal. Like if you had like, you know that caramel you put on ice cream. If you put that inside, like if you put it on cereal, that's what it tastes like. It's good.
Yeah, it's like a sweet combo.
Yeah, it's really good. So get y'all some go to the Asian market or Google it and get you some Hello Panda caramels. And with that, guys, I gotta get to cooking. And I'm gonna do a live. So from wherever we are to wherever you are, peace, love, and happiness. And I will see you guys next time. I don't think I'm gonna do Sherlock next time. I think I'm gonna try to hit VC Andrews flower in the attic because the Girl Scout cookies got sued, and I feel like that mama should have got sued too. So I'm gonna do my best to try to get that one done for you guys. I think y'all will find that fun. So anyway, with that, I bid you guys adieu.